we did cut it down to a one-score game. Have another opportunities where we continue drives to get more points that we weren't able to do that. And the second thing that'll bother me is, play over special teams. Field position in a game like this is extremely important. And, to give up a touchdown on a missed field goal and to turn over the ball right before half, which led to points. You look at the 17 points they had in the first half. 10 of them were off essentially off special teams because we fumble the punt return and we give up the touchdown. So those are the two things that would bother me most. At end of the day, there's things that we have to correct as these guys head off for the bye week and come back when we come back to the field and then get after winning these last 4 games.
On special teams, with the 2 missed field goals, how much of an impact does it have with the program?
Yeah, Claire, that's something we'll have to look at, at the end of the day, yeah. But, we worked the whole week with Noah, and Noah's doing a good job. And so we'll take a look at exactly what it was on the field goal. Lewis has hit so many big kicks for us. I have the utmost confidence in him. And, we'll continue to put him out there because we know he's going to make almost 100% of his kicks.
Can you tell us also about that decision in the fourth quarter to go for it in the end zone? I think it was 3rd and 2 rather than trying to get first down.
Yeah, Claire, anytime you call a play, there's multiple options, right? And depending upon what the defense plays, you look at different things. We felt that at the end of the day, obviously, the earlier or shorter options weren't there. With that play call, we look at Gino. Gino's a money guy in that situation. Thought he had good leverage on the guy, and might have missed on the throw a little bit.
Feels like a missed opportunity the day that Drew had over 400 yards again. Feels like a missed opportunity with Drew having over 400 yards.
Yeah, the 400 yards has nothing to do with the missed opportunity. I think the missed opportunity, like I talked about, was, turnovers and playing a team that wasn't, really lighting up the scoreboard. I thought, like I said, thought the defense did a fantastic job. It's our opportunities. You can have as many yards as you want to. You need to put the ball where it needs to be. And you got to get it into the end zone, I guess is what I meant to say.
The assist that Adarius Pickett gave tonight was outstanding.
Pardon?
How would you describe the Adarius Pickett game tonight?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Describe Adarius Pickett's game tonight.
Darius Pickett. Yeah, no, I thought Darius played well. Played with great physicality. I thought he was around the ball a lot. In the backfield. I thought, like I said, I talked about our defense. I thought all of them. I thought it was a great group effort by that group, and Darius definitely stood up.
You get the start you wanted. You get the start that you wanted, that we've been waiting to see in that first quarter. How big was just that Lewis Ward missed field goal, and Lewis being so, usually he's pretty dependable for you guys.
Yeah, I've told you. I continue to put Lewis out there because he's a fantastic kicker. One of the best in the league. Anything like that is momentum, but early in a game, when you have 3 quarters left, you got to produce. It was a close game throughout the whole time. That's something that you'd love to have that go up by 10 points, but at the end of the day, it resulted in a touchdown the other way. But at the end of the day, yes, Lewis gets paid to make his field goals. That was one that went wide, and you just move forward from there, and you got to bounce back.
Also, this might be a very detailed question, but the Suns' angle, was there any chance that some of it, like there was one ball thrown by Drew Graham, interception, that the Sun played a factor at all on that side?
Claire, I can't answer that question. You know what I mean? I think there's a million things that happen on each play. From the sidelines, I can't answer that question.
How does this feel for your playoff chances, Bob?
Well, at the end of the day, not thinking per se about that. We know we got to come back here and we got to win 4 games. It's the only thing we can control, right? And that's what we focus on. These guys go home, they rest up, they come back here and they work. We get to work and we take care of our next game here versus Saskatchewan, and we go like that. So those things are the things that we focus on and go forward from there.
Thanks, Coach.
No, you got one more. You can go.
No, I don't. My math is probably off. I don't know. You don't take time in figuring it all out. I don't think you have control of your own destiny anymore.
I never said that.
No, I know. No, I'm just, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I say we worry about what we can control.
Right.
And we go forward from there.
Right.
And what we do is how we prepare for our next game and attack it aggressively.
To get the win, you know, like your defense coming out big?
I mean, I think you play to win, and the numbers are the numbers. At the end of the day, you know, as a unit and then myself didn't play well enough to win, so.
Did you feel any, I mean, you given a touchdown on the first drive, but did you feel any rust or anything from the game? There was a few times it looked like the sun might have had a bit of an impact. Was there different things? You just said you didn't play your best game. Was there reasons behind it?
No, I mean, I think that you miss a handful of things. You know, you try to be perfect, obviously. You try to execute. I think that's the standard, although, you know, you're chasing that and you obviously fall short of that. And, you know, those two instances, I just missed them high. I don't think, you know, the sun played a factor. You know, those are just two throws that I didn't execute the way I wish I would have.
What does it feel like when you get off the start, like you did between 5 of 5 on the opening drive and into the end? So it looked easy. Did it feel like it was going to be a big day, like a good day, or did they make any adjustments that maybe that threw that off track at all?
I mean, anytime that you're kind of off schedule, you know, it becomes a challenge. You know, you're mixing and matching things, trying to keep them off balance. You know, I felt like obviously the first drive was pretty swift. I thought that would, yeah, I definitely thought we were going to start rolling. And, you know, they were able to get us in some situations where, you know, we might have been behind the chains a little bit, and you know, they were able to kind of take away a lot of what we were going to do. So just trying to stay ahead of the chains a little bit better. But yeah.
What's the feeling right now in the locker room, just given how precarious the situation is for your team moving forward?
I mean, I think that guys are upset, rightfully so. You know, they're frustrated, but at the same time, you know, we have to continue to come in and you know, it was set in there that we have to show up and win 4 and see what happens, and come back with the right mindset. Don't mail it in.
I feel like today was a missed opportunity. I mean, you look at Strubler was held, I think it was 1 completion in the first half, that things, one thing changes that you kind of look at, man, this is a different game.
I think you can look at every game like that. At the end of the day, you know, you have to find ways to win. It's going to look different every week, and we haven't been able to do that. So, you know, I think that everyone takes accountability for things that they can do better. You know, we don't have a bunch of guys that say this is why we lost. Everyone takes accountability and tries to improve on a daily basis. And I think that's the right and healthiest way to go about it.